Welcome back to the Midnight Vigil, the channel where the stars are always right and there really is a monster hiding underneath your bed. This is another update in my series, The Daily Scream, where I discuss a horror story from the week that has caught my eye. This is a story courtesy of Bloody Disgusting, one of my favorite horror websites. Check them out. If you're a big horror fan, you really owe it to yourself to check out the content and the articles that they write. This is an article that I have seen all over Twitter, all over social media recently, although I remember seeing it a couple of years ago too. It's an image of a swimmer being attacked by a shark, which is obviously scary enough because sharks are pretty scary. But Bloody Disgusting had an article recently detailing the history behind the image, and it's pretty interesting, so we're going to talk about it. This is a picture from a filmed scene from Jaws, the Steven Spielberg horror blockbuster. It was not included in the movie, but on the Jaws documentary, the shark is still working. They kind of talk about it, go behind the scenes on this image. The second unit director was responsible for filming an alternate take on the Alex Kittner attack sequence, which happens in the beginning of Jaws, where Brody is, on the alert. He thinks there's a shark that's attacking people that attacked Christine, who gets killed in the first couple of minutes of the movie. And the Amity mayor is reluctant because the 4th of July is coming up and it's going to kill tourism if there's a shark eating people, obviously. And so this sequence happens because Brody knows there's a shark, but no one believes him. And Alex Kittner goes out on his little floaty and he gets eaten. It's a pretty scary scene the way that it is in the film. There's this like blood geyser effect that is really gory, really cool. And the dog dies. I'm pretty sure the dog dies in this scene, which shame on you, Steven Spielberg. But they did, so there was another version of the attack which was going to be more violent, more visceral. And that's what this picture is from. Ultimately, it obviously didn't make the final cut of the film. I think it's a good reason, but the sort of official reason for why it wasn't included was because this is like a blow up doll of some sort, of Alex Kittner, and you can see like the slope is very unnatural. The way that the head is drowning itself in the water is not really realistic. And apparently Spielberg wasn't happy with the way that the flesh didn't look right on this this blow up approximation, and they just ended up putting a red swimsuit on it to try and make it look more realistic and make it look like Alex Kittner, and it wasn't very convincing. So obviously it got left on the cutting room floor in editing. But this sequence, there's another picture of it here. This sequence, I personally think doesn't really fit the film at all, because at this point in the movie, Brody is the only one that really believes there's a shark. Him and Hooper believe that there's a shark. And when Alex Kittner is killed, on the beach, there's a lot of witnesses. This is not subtle. There's no deniability here that this is a great white shark. And because, of course, they have to admit there's a shark. Yeah, we knew about it. Yeah, it killed someone. And they claim that the tiger shark that later gets captured and killed is the one that killed the swimmers. If you had something like this happen, with these people in the shot and they're seeing it, tiger sharks and great whites are very different. The way that they're colored, the size, this would be unmistakable. So I just don't really think it fits the movie anyways. And And it's interesting because this was one of the rare instances where Bruce the shark was working. And I think Jaws is almost like this accidentally great movie because uh, the mechanical shark that they had, famously stopped working like 90 something percent of the time, which was why they had to resort to suspense and sort of letting the audience draw their own conclusions about what was going on. And it's not until much later in the film that you finally actually see it, which I think makes the movie way scarier. Modern horror films, I think, would be better if they took this kind of approach where less is more, less of the big CGI, less of the in your face. The suspense is what makes a horror film so good to watch. So obviously, I just don't think tonally this really would have gone very well with what the film was trying to do. But that's pretty much it. Jaws is such a great horror film. It's kept me semi out of the water. I'm pretty freaked out if I can't see what's underneath me. That seems to be a similar effect of this film. But I just wanted to give a brief update because a lot of people are talking about it, and it really is all over Twitter, which is a big source of information for me. But that's pretty much it, guys. As usual, if you like the video, feel free to subscribe. And if you have a Twitter account, you can follow me at Midnight Vigil. Thanks a lot, guys. I will see you next time.